Shalom, giving all praise and glory unto Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, and double honors unto the elder apostles, elder bishops, and brothers on a great millstone. His salutations also to the men that teach the likewise doctrine. Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Rabbi Yamya here to share a lesson. And title of this lesson is No Deals with Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. Alright. I titled the lesson that because as you see the title of the article before you, it says, what might a U.S.-Iran nuclear deal entail? Right, by the Reuters news article published or written by Francois Murphy. And right now, you have these two countries trying to work out a deal where the one that has nuclear power, which is the U.S., is trying to dictate what military aggressive or defensive arsenal should the non-nuclear power, which is Iran, have, right? Because they know that once they develop these particular powerful weapons, that they are gonna attack the small hots, all right? So they're trying to put a halt to prophecy. But what the Most High have, Yahawashi, has in place, in store for both nations is war, right? And his authority stands regardless of what policy and meetings with global leaders take place. You know what I mean? The word of Yahawashi is the authority upon the face of the earth. If he says something, if he has something written, and he shares that information, right, with his prophets, right, who then tell the people or warn the people, there's nothing man could do to bring about a shift or a change in the Lord's command, his word or his prophecy. So, Lord willing, this lesson be edifying unto the elect. So know that though things may look on the surface that things are slowing down and all of that, there's always prophecy happening, right? And these things will happen, but before it happens, we have to see the time of Jacob's trouble and the hour of temptation through the implementation of the mark of the beast, or the MOTB, that RFID microchip. So I'm going to go into this article, share a few scriptures, and close it out with the theme of no deals with Yahawashi, right? So Lord willing, it be edifying and understanding unto the elect. So here we go. It says the United States hopes talks with Iran in Geneva will produce an agreement to prevent Tehran acquiring nuclear weapons. And President Donald Trump has amassed forces in the Middle East to increase pressure on the Islamic Republic to reach a deal. Right, so through the news that I've been seeing, they have their armada, these ships that hold these aircraft carriers that hold these jets and helicopters and various naval weapons and devices surrounding the country, right, in their waterways, and their allies that are close by, like Turkey and Israel, right? They have weapons or are on alert should anything happen to aid the U.S. Armada. So they have the sea covered, and then they have their Iran neighboring countries, which are allies with the U.S., to help as well, right? So it says here that President Donald Trump has amassed forces in the Middle East to increase pressure on the Islamic Republic to reach a deal. And the first portion of script here, I'm gonna pull it real quick. is in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. And verse 1. It says, a time for everything. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the sun, right? So there's a time for everything under the sun. Verse 8, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. So we are in a time of war right now, not peace. It says, next subheading, what is at stake? Iran has over decades developed an advanced and large-scale uranium enrichment program. While enriched uranium can be used as fuel in power plants at various purity levels, at high levels it can be used to make nuclear weapons. Until Israel and the United States attacked its nuclear facilities last June, Iran was enriching uranium to up to 60% purity, a short step from the roughly 90% that is weapons grade. Right? Continuing on, it said it had enough material enriched to that level if enriched further for 10 nuclear weapons, according to an International Atomic Energy Agency yardstick, and more at lower levels. Alright? So the US and Israel and its allies intend to put an end to Iran's nuclear weapons manufacturing or capability. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3. And verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, right? These Edomites and these heathens, prepare for war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords. Right? The plowshares are like farming instruments or farming tools. Tools of harvesting, growing crops. And put your prune hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So these nations that once did not have the military size and the equipment, helicopters, jets, right? They are, through their economy, they are using the resources of their economy, whether it be oil, right? Some countries, they have like a pitch lake to make roadways and such, right? Sugar, tobacco, what have you. They are using these things, right, to advance their country's militaries, which is going to be used, the money from the resources that I mentioned, gold and silver as well, is going to be used to purchase, if they are not manufacturing it themselves, helicopters, jets, missiles, right, short range and long range, nuclear as well, right, so that they could be strong, because other nuclear power do not respect a country that doesn't have the full capability of defending themselves or have the ability to destroy another power, right? It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down. Right? So we're coming into a time of war. Verse 12, let the heathen be awakened, and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahawah's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So when these different nations are fighting themselves, right, Yahawashi is gonna come on the scene with his armada of chariots and his fathership, right, which he will be on. And there he will judge the nations for what they have done to us and is currently doing, and their intent and what they intend to do to us in these last days. Continuing on, it says the IAEA, the UN nuclear watchdog, has not, however, been able to verify how much of that uranium stock remains. Iran has yet to declare what happened to it or allow the agency to inspect its bomb nuclear facilities. Iran's enrichment plans were destroyed or badly damaged in their attacks through their existing status. Though their existing status, like that of the uranium stock, has yet to be verified. Right? So they want to send people in there as well. What do both sides want? After the June bombings, the two sides expressed incompatible demands. The US said it wanted Iran to give up enrichment, and Iran said it would never do that. Right? As a party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, Iran has the right to enrich uranium as long as it does not use it to produce nuclear weapons, which it says it will never do. While an agreement might include an initial phase in which Iran suspends enrichment, there are limited options in terms of what any deal might let it do with its enrichment program, enrich elsewhere, right? So Russia, the scriptures talk about Timon. The Timonites are the Edomites. And when you read in scripture, they talk about the wise men of Timon. Those are the smart men, right? The geniuses, the German Edomites, right? Those scientists, right? That also know how to create nuclear weaponry. Next portion of scripture. So the Russians are gonna help Iran. They're gonna be an aid unto them. And Turkey, which is a NATO ally at this moment, they are also gonna cut ties with the whole and also be joined with Russia and Iran to attack Babylon, to fight against them. All right, let's go here in the book of Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 20. This thing is moving really slow today. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 20. It says, therefore hear the counsel of Yahawah that he had taken against the Edomites, right? See? And his purpose, that he had purpose against the inhabitants of Timon, the Edomites. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, right? The least of the flock being these small hearts will draw out the US or Babylon to war. So it will happen. So no deals with Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Right? So war is gonna take place. Continuing on, it says, in previous rounds of talks, the idea was floated of a regional enrichment consortium, which would involve setting up a joint venture outside Iran with one or more other countries from the Middle East. Tehran has also rejected that as an alternative to enriching on its soil, enrich for other purposes. Centrifuges, the machines that enrich uranium, can be used for other purposes, such as production of so-called stable isotopes, which have a range of applications in medicine and scientific research. The landmark 2015 deal between Iran and major powers, which Trump pulled the U.S. out of in 2018, allowed centrifuges at Iran's underground Fordow site to be used only for the production of stable isotopes. One retaliatory step by Iran after Trump's withdrawal was to start enriching uranium at Fordow, which the U.S. bombed in June, enriched to low level. It becomes exponentially easy to enrich to weapons grade the more highly enriched uranium you start with is. In terms of efforts, once you have enriched to 5% purity, you are more than halfway to weapons grade. Keeping Iran at arm's length from being able to race towards nuclear weapons will involve limiting the purity it can enrich to and how much enriched uranium it can amass. The 2015 deal let Iran enrich to 3.67% purity. Diplomats have said, only half jokingly, that Trump's rejection of that deal is so great that 3.6% is the one enrichment level he will not accept now. So they're moving the goalposts. What else needs to be addressed? Any deal would also have to require thorough accounting of Iran's stock of enrichment uranium. Any doubts about that could trigger a new conflict, and it's going to happen. But other things have to take place, other prophecies need to take place, like I mentioned, before this happens, before it gets really hot, like the time of Jacob's trouble and the hour of temptation. All right. Since Iran knows how to enrich with advanced centrifuges and has an unknown number of those centrifuges stored at unknown locations, the risk of enriching it in secret could hang over any future deal. This makes verification most likely by the IAEA a central issue. And that brings us to the end of the article. Right, so with Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, there is no deal. This has to happen. We are just waiting on prophecy. That is how he does things. Alright. And I'll end with these two portions of scriptures. Again, this app is taking long. You may have to reset the phone. This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. It says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh." So we had the World War I and then the World War II. But the World War III has not come yet, but it is approaching quickly. But again, we have to wait on other prophecies to take place, earthquakes in diverse places, right? Famines, both of the word and of food to take place as well. All right. Alright, so the second war has passed and the third war cometh quickly. This is why you have the US and Iran and Israel, this one hard Salakia, are in Iran's business. That is like somebody coming into your house and they want to go up in your cupboards and they want to check everything. They want to check how much flour you have, sugar, so on and so forth. So they in their house, minding their business, like we say in the islands, right? So this is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with a confused noise." If you look at movies like Troy and all these period pieces of ancient times, the men, they had catapults, with the way they would use stone to throw in the field to destroy or crush other men or cities, or catapults where they put like different flammable oils on it, and then they would light it, and it would act like a sling, and it would throw the fiery stones or different objects to destroy different city walls, right, or different structures and stuff. And you would hear men crying and screaming. You would hear the sword hitting against the shield, right? Men making noise, grunting, right? Confused noise, right? And rolled in blood, right? Because of the sword play, the sword fighting, sword against flesh, right? But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, and that is gonna come from what Iran is seeking here. These turmoil nuclear arsenal or missiles, right? That burning. So Babylon, aka America, will be the lake of fire that scriptures talk about in these last days. Right? So this is where, things are heading. And it's moving fast. This article was published February 26th, which was yesterday. So every day is something new, coming about. So war is coming. There is no deals with Yahawashi. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. And no man, no world leader can change this. Until the next time, Shalom.